They told you to stop thinking so much, to calm down, to relax, to shut it off. But what if your thoughts weren't the problem? What if the chaos in your mind wasn't madness, but awakening? You're not overthinking, you're overawakened. You're seeing the layers, the lies, the illusions, and they can't unring that bell. You've stepped outside the sleepwalk of mediocrity, of conformity, of living like you've got forever. But something cracked open inside you. Maybe it was heartbreak, maybe failure, maybe the emptiness of success without meaning, maybe just the silent voice that whispered, "This isn't all there is." That voice was not your weakness. It was your call to arms. It was your mind stretching beyond the walls society built for you. It was the first flame of awareness catching fire in the wilderness of your soul. Overthinking, no, you're just seeing too much, feeling too deeply, and asking the one question this world is terrified of. Why? Why do we chase things we don't love? Why do we worship busyness and mock stillness? Why do we envy those who seem free but fear becoming them? Why do we punish originality and reward blind obedience? Because awakening is dangerous. It threatens the comfortable, it rewrites your reality, and once you awaken, nothing is ever the same. So here you are awake. Aware, alive, torn between two worlds, the world that wants you back asleep, and the one that's waiting for you to build something greater, and the first war begins in your mind. The battlefield isn't out there. It's not your job, not your bank account, not even your past. It's the 6 inches between your ears. That's where the real war is fought, and most people lose without ever knowing they were in a fight. You want to know why you feel like you're breaking apart, because your old identity is dying, and your new one is fighting to be born. There's nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system isn't malfunctioning. You're evolving. You're not meant to get over this part. You're meant to walk through it like fire, like iron in the forge. The cocoon always looks like a crisis until the wings break free. Your mind is expanding. It's seeking truth, clarity, freedom, and that creates friction. That friction is not dysfunction. It's transformation. You've outgrown the life that once fit you like a cage, and now your thoughts are crashing into those bars. The voice that says maybe there's more isn't weakness. It's the warrior, the builder, the leader. It's the same voice that whispered to Lincoln when he stood alone against slavery. The same voice that haunted Edison when the world told him to quit. The same voice that guided Mandela in a prison cell, still seeing freedom. These men weren't calm, they weren't balanced. They weren't sitting on mountaintops meditating away their fire, they were consumed by it. So don't be ashamed of the storm in your head. That storm is the forge where greatness is born. Let it rage, but direct it, because uncontrolled awareness becomes torment, but disciplined awareness, that becomes legacy. Now you must choose, because awareness without direction leads to destruction, and clarity, true, grounded clarity, doesn't come by accident. It comes by decision. You must decide who you are, not based on your past. Not based on what they said, but based on what you now see and know. You've peeked behind the curtain. You've glimpsed your potential. That wasn't imagination, it was revelation. Vision is the soul remembering its mission. And now you have a responsibility not to be perfect, not to have it all figured out, but to move, to stop analyzing every flaw and start acting like the person you've seen in your dreams. You weren't given those visions to tease you. You were given them because they are possible, but only if you become the vessel strong enough to carry them. Henry Ford didn't know how to build a car when he first envisioned it. Walt Disney was mocked, broke, and fired before he built a kingdom from his imagination. They were not overthinking. They were overawakened, too awake to settle, too awake to comply, too awake to go back. You don't need a new life. You need a new lens, a new level of belief, one that is unshakable. A belief built on truth, not emotion. Emotion wavers, truth does not. You must believe in yourself not because it feels good, but because it's your duty, because the world needs more people who are on fire with purpose. Not people who are numbed by doubt. Belief is not just the start. Belief is the fuel. Without it, your vision dies of starvation. You must learn to see clearly, not with your eyes, but with your intention. And once you see it, you must move like your life depends on it, because it does. You were not born to drift. You were not placed on this earth to react, to wait, to wonder. You were created to drive, to direct, to demand more from life, because something in you knows this isn't just about you. Your life is the seed of something eternal, something that echoes. Purpose is not a luxury, it is the map. Without it, every action is noise. Every day is driftwood. When you wake up with no direction, the world will hand you one, and it will always serve them, not you. You don't need 100 passions. You need one mission and 1,000 acts of discipline to honor it. Discipline is the bridge between the vision you feel and the world that will one day see it. And make no mistake, you will not feel like it every day. There will be days you feel empty, disconnected, uninspired. But greatness isn't built on those days when motivation is high. It's built on the days when it isn't, and you still show up. You want freedom. Earn it in routine. You want power. Bleed for it in private. You want purpose. Prove it with consistency. Disney built his empire brick by brick when no one believed. Carnegie read and worked while others gambled and drank. Tesla slept on benches so he could work uninterrupted through the night. They weren't disciplined because it was easy. They were disciplined because their purpose was more important than their comfort. And so must yours be. This world is not designed to reward the distracted. It is built to consume the unfocused, but the few who lock in, the few who master the mundane, the few who sacrifice fleeting pleasure for eternal purpose. They become legends. Discipline is not punishment. It is permission to become who you were meant to be. You are not falling apart. You are falling into alignment, into rhythm, into power, and now. We talk about pain because you will face it. You already have, but pain isn't a curse. Pain is the teacher no one asks for, but everyone needs. It is the fire that burns away who you're not to reveal who you are. Do not run from pain. Ask it what it came to show you, because hidden inside your darkest days is the wisdom that cannot be taught, only lived. The same pain that broke you yesterday can build your foundation tomorrow if you transform it. This is your alchemy, to turn wounds into wisdom, loss into leverage, suffering into strength. Gratitude is the key that unlocks this, because when you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what's this shaping in me, you step into power. When you learn to thank your trials, to bless the closed doors, to honor the betrayals, you stop being a victim. You become untouchable, because gratitude isn't about ignoring reality, it's about rewriting it. Lincoln lost election after election, buried 2 sons, and walked through war. And still he gave thanks for the burden of leadership. Still he carried the weight of a nation because he believed in something bigger than himself. That's what gratitude is, not passive acceptance, but radical transformation. And when the world shifts, as it always will, your ability to adapt becomes your survival. Adaptability is the superpower of the awaken. Because the awakened know nothing external is permanent. All that lasts is who you become in the face of change. You must learn to bend without breaking, to flow like water through storms, to hold vision when the facts say quit, to remain centered in the chaos. That's what it means to be awakened, not to be fearless, but to be flexible, not to avoid pain, but to use it, because everything in your life is either a weight or a weapon. And you decide which it becomes. They will call you obsessed. They will call you intense. They will call you unrealistic. Let them, because every world changer, every misfit who bent reality, every soul that refused to shrink was once called crazy. Until they won, resilience isn't about having thick skin. It's about having a deep why, one strong enough to carry you through rejection, ridicule, resistance. You think you've failed, good, now you're learning. Failure is not your enemy, stagnation is. The only time you truly lose is the moment you stop growing. Every mistake is a mirror. Every loss is a lesson in disguise. And if you stop judging yourself long enough to learn, you become unstoppable. Learn faster than the world expects. Grow deeper than they assume, because the people who master life are the ones who master themselves. Master your reactions, master your focus, master your habits. Master your time, and eventually master your destiny. This is not for the weak. This is not for the casual. This is for the ones who carry fire in their bones, the ones who would rather be broken by purpose than comforted by mediocrity. The ones who feel too much, think too deeply, and burn too brightly for this shallow world. You're not broken, you're not overthinking, you're overawakened, and that fire you feel, that pressure in your chest, that ache for more, that is you remembering who you are.